Allegation that the Director of Research and Information Services was promoted procedurally. An allegation was made by Honorable Dorcas Mulugu that the Director of Research and Information Services, who initially was the Principal Public Communications and Relations Officer, was done and procedurally. We would like to respond to the public, to make the public understand, ideally, a public servant is usually due for promotion after every 3 years of service. This was not the case with the officer in question, who, despite completing her master's from University College London and undertaking other relevant trainings in Germany, in the Netherlands Hague Academy for Local Governance, and the US-sponsored yearly training on public management and leadership, was never promoted for 7 years since her employment as a principal officer in 2014. Her promotion based on her work and qualifications had been overdue. The said officer was denied her due promotion for over 7 years for reasons best known to the former leadership of the House, where Honorable Crispus Masaga Tondo served for 10 years as the Deputy Speaker. They should come out clearly and tell us why didn't they promote her with all those qualifications and even the experience and even the law for the over 3 years that she was not promoted. Further, the promotion for the said director was approved by the County Assembly Service Board in March 2024, in line with the County Assembly organogram that is duly in place, and the same was done when Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi was still the Speaker and the Chairperson of the County Assembly Service Board. It is also important to note that Honorable Anselm Mwadime, talking now, the current acting Speaker, and who is allegedly to have influenced the promotion of the said officer, does not sit in the County Assembly Service Board. Deputy Speakers do not sit. They are not members of County Assembly Service Board. Even as at the capacity of the acting Speaker, I do not sit in the County Assembly Service Board. Number 9. Matters trips. It was alleged that County Assembly members have been going on unnecessary foreign trips, that some members have even gone for 7 trips in one financial year. This allegation, honestly, is unfounded. It is important to note that every member of the County Assembly has a right to travel for the benefit of the Assembly and generally the county citizenry, a fact that has been observed with all fairness. In fact, the members who went to address the media on 2nd June 2025, that is Honorable Crispus Masaga Tondo and Honorable Taraya Halifa of Mbogoni and Bomeni and Mbogoni ward respectively, were among the group that went for an official trip to Singapore recently. Allegation 10, that the Larson Committee is controlled by one person. The members alleged that the Larson Committee is controlled by one person who signs minutes and approves all travels without consulting the other chairpersons. Let me make it clear now to the public that this is not true, as the Larson Committee, which is comprised of all chairpersons of committees, holds meetings every Tuesday to approve all committees' requests. Further, Honorable Anselm Mwadime is no longer the chair and has no longer been the chairperson of committees due to the fact that he is currently the acting Speaker, and therefore to say that he controls the Larson Committee is an unfounded allegation. The current chairperson of the Larson Committee is Honorable Stephen Zai, a member for Marungu Ward. Number 11, allegation, impeachment of Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi. It was further alleged by the members that the impeachment of Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi as the Speaker was orchestrated as a personal agenda by a single individual. It was also alleged that the impeachment of Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi was occasioned by his supposed refusal to approve a trip for Honorable Gennard Mwandau, leader of minority and member for Veruga Ward, and Honorable Kifuso, the minority whip, member for Mingu Kishushe Ward. We would like to respond. The County Assembly wishes to clarify that the impeachment motion against Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi, who is now the former Speaker of this County Assembly, was supported and signed by all members of the County Assembly, with the exception of Honorable Dorcas Mlugu, who had a dissenting vote. This clearly demonstrates that the decision was collective and reflective of the broader will of the County Assembly and not an agenda of any one individual. The impeachment processes were therefore conducted in accordance with the law, guided by evidence and supported by the majority of the Assembly. As a matter of fact, the 3 of the 4 members who are addressing the press on second, Honorable Crispas Tondo, Honorable Halifa Taraya, and Honorable Azardin, are on record speaking in vehement support of the impeachment motion. These facts are captured in the official Hansard reports and records of the County Assembly proceedings, which are publicly accessible for verification. It is also important to note that the said trip for the 2 honorable members, that is the minority leader and the minority whip, was not arranged by the County Assembly of Taita Taveta, but the National Minority Parties Caucus, and neither were the members facilitated by the Assembly of Taita Taveta as was alleged. The issue of their travel, therefore, had no bearing in the matter of the impeachment of the former Speaker. Use of derogatory statements against the Assembly and MCAs. The 4 honorable members in the said interview also made a series of disparaging remarks regarding the integrity, functioning, and leadership of the County Assembly and its members and staff, including but not limited to unwarranted scathing attacks against the Honorable Acting Speaker, the Honorable Majority Leader, and the County Assembly Service Board. Part of some of the remarks that were made, trying to quote them verbatim, kama tunategemea bunge, basi hiki ndio kichinjio. Another one, Larson Committee is run by one person, no consultation by the chairperson. The other one, Honorable Peter Shambi, was castigated for failing to champion the cause of the 4 members and was questioned on his mandate to protect the interest of the public if he gets elected as a senator. Another one, that there's a lot of corruption both in the Assembly and the Executive, but the same is covered up by the Assembly leadership. Another one, Bunge is being run like a toilet, market, bathroom, and bedroom. The members went further to make derogatory remarks against the acting speaker by referring him to as Mbinafsi, Mlafi, and among others. I would like to respond as follows. These comments were not only unsubstantiated but also potentially defamatory, undermining public confidence and trust in the County Assembly of Taita Taveta. They are also defamatory to the image and dignity of the person and character of the acting speaker and the office he holds. They claim that they are financial bandits in the county are not only defamatory, but also raise questions to the integrity of all leaders in the county government. The above statements and many more that were made through their aforesaid media outbursts and populist rhetoric are not only baseless, defamatory, insulting, and disrespectful, but they also demonstrate a blatant disregard for the decorum expected of elected representatives. It is well within the knowledge of the leaders of our county that they bear a solemn responsibility to uphold the dignity of public office and address grievances through lawful and procedural channels. Any member with credible evidence of misconduct, procedural flaws, or corruption is duty-bound and is more than welcome to raise such matters through well-known and established legal mechanisms, including referring matters to the County Assembly powers and privileges. We are simply saying there are those mechanisms. When a member is aggrieved or there's an issue that a member would want to seek clarification, there are those mechanisms. We have petitions, we have a session also of questions and answers, we have statements, even personal statements, and we have even matters to be referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee. So we even wonder if they had needed any clarifications, why go there and cry like common mwananchi, and yet mwananchi entrusted them to come into this assembly to represent them, yet they go back to scream there. That shows a high level of incompetence and not understanding the roles very well, why they were brought by their people into this honorable house, which is why we are here to put a record straight within the law and even what is provided within the standing orders of this house. There's also harassment and defamatory remarks against public officers. Very unfortunate. A member, honorable member, discussing and attacking staffs of the county assembly, which was very unnecessary. The county assembly formally and univocally expresses deep concerns and strong condemnation regarding the harassment of its officers through the scathing, defamatory, and wholly unsubstantiated remarks by Honorable Tondo Crispas against Ms. Elizabeth Ngele, the Principal Human Resource Officer of the County Assembly. Ms. Ngele was appointed to her position following a lawful, transparent, and competitive recruitment process, and has continued to serve with a lot of dedication and professionalism. The process was conducted by the then chairperson of the County Assembly Service Board, one former Speaker, Honorable Wisdom Mwamburi. Equally troubling was the public support and encouragement of these inappropriate remarks by Honorable Dorcas Mlugu, despite her self-identification as a champion for women in leadership. Honorable Mlugu saw it fit to upload statements that amounted to a targeted and malicious character attack against a fellow woman and a committed public officer. It is particularly disheartening that the utterances laden with derogatory insinuations of a sexual nature emanated from elected leaders and were directed at a professional female staff who was employed based on merit, integrity, and satisfaction of the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Such conduct is not only personally demeaning to Ms. Ngele, but it also undermines the dignity of public service and threatens the progress made in promoting gender equity in leadership and in employment. The Assembly finds the conduct of the two honorable members not only reprehensible and unacceptable, but also potentially legally actionable. These statements are defamatory and constitute a direct affront to Ms. Ngele's personal dignity, professional reputation, and rights as protected under the law. Moreover, the nature of these remarks reflect a form of unlawful harassment and discrimination and stands in stark contradiction to the ethical and leadership standards expected of public officials. Accordingly, the County Assembly demands an immediate cessation of such conduct and a formal retraction of the offensive remarks and a public apology to Ms. Ngele and the County Assembly at large. The County Assembly remains steadfast in its commitment to uphold the values of respect, professionalism, and gender equality in the public service. We will not tolerate such actions that seek to demean, vilify, and undermine our officers based on baseless allegations, discriminatory attitudes, and gender-based stereotypes. Another allegation, members allege that the four estranged members, allege that they have been removed from county assembly committees. The county assembly indeed confirms that the members were removed from a few committees and further clarify the removal was precipitated by the members' misconduct. However, it is worth noting that Honorable Crispas Tondo is still a member of the Procedure and Rules Committee, Gender and Culture Committee, Delegated County Legislation Committee, and the Justice, Legal Affairs, Labor, Employment and Trade Unions Committee. Honorable Dorcas Mlugu is a member of the Powers, Privileges, Immunities and Obligations Committee, the Human Wildlife Conflict Resolutions Committee, and the Social Welfare Committee, and the Gender and Culture Committee. Honorable Halifa Taraya is a member of the Administration, Security, Devolution, Public Participation, Community Services and Drugs Control Committee, the Gender and Culture Committee, and the Delegated Legislation County Legislations Committee. Honorable Azardin is a member of the Procedure and Rules Committee, the Youth and Sports Committee, Delegated County Legislation Committee, and the Administration, Security, Devolution, Public Participation, Community Services and Drugs Control. It is worth noting that pursuant to Section 14(4) of the County Governments Act, number 17 of 2012, as read together with Standing Order number 183(1), which say every member has the right to serve in at least one committee of the House. At least one committee of the House. And you can see I've read several that they belong to. Further, Honorable Crispus Tondo, the Emeritus Deputy Speaker, can attest to the fact that reconstitution of committees in any legislative house, including the Senate and the National Parliament or the National Assembly, is a common and inevitable practice, which he also used during his reign as the Deputy Speaker and the Chairperson of committees to discipline some members, me included, in the last second assembly. So it's a parliamentary practice. The whipping is a parliamentary practice. In conclusion, the County Assembly notes the following. The conduct and public utterances made by the aforementioned honorable members, which seek to impugn the integrity of the County Assembly and deliberately misrepresent factual matters, constitute a grave mischaracterization of the truth and amounts to gross misconduct and a breach of privilege. Such actions are not only injurious to the dignity and the authority of the Assembly, but also contravene the express provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, the Penal Code, the Sexual Offences Act, and the standing orders governing the proceedings and decorum of the Assembly. Consequently, the County Assembly shall invoke disciplinary mechanisms under the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act and the standing orders, and accordingly refer the matter to the Committee of Powers and Privileges for appropriate inquiry and recommendations. Additionally, the County Assembly expressly reserves its right to institute both criminal and civil proceedings against the said members where warranted, in order to vindicate the institutional integrity of the Assembly, enforce compliance with the law, and ensure accountability in the use of public resources. I thank you. Asanteni sana. Maybe I do a few off-cuffs. Ndugu wapendwa, watu wetu wa Taita Taveta, wa jimbo hili la Taita Taveta, wakati tunapochagua wajumbe na kuwaleta katika nyumba hii ya heshima, sote tunatarajiwa kubeba na kulinda heshima hiyo kama wafanyikazi au watumishi wa umma, na matamshi yetu lazima yawe ya kuwajibika. Ni vizuri tueleze kwamba ndiyo upo uhuru wa kujieleza Kenya hii katika katiba, na vile vile katika County Assemblies Powers and Privileges Act 2017, ukisoma section 8 inaeleza huo uhuru, the extent, huo uhuru unatumika mpaka wapi, unatumika vipi. Lakini kwa bahati mbaya Ndugu zetu hawa ambao tumeishi nao vizuri, juzi wakaingiwa na pepo. Acha niite pepo, kwa sababu mmoja wao ambaye ni Mheshimiwa Tondoa aliyenitangulia, naibu spika, amekaa katika bunge hili miaka 10. Sijui standing orders ndo hakuwahi zisoma akazielewa, na sheria ambazo zinaambatana na kuendesha bunge. Akawazungusha wenzake, wakatoka huko kwenda kufanya matamshi ambayo hata kule bunge la kitaifa utamsikia mjumbe yoyote yule akitoka kuongea kinyume na nyumba ambayo amefanya kuletwa, nyumba ya heshima. Hivyo basi, kwa sababu sheria ipo, sisi kama bunge, maana bunge ndilo hili hapa, sisi kama bunge tumesema tutaifuatilia sheria mpaka mwisho. Iwapo sheria itatulazimu tupitishe hao wajumbe tuwarudishe nyumbani huko wakapigiwe kura tena, tutafanya hivyo, ili warudi wakajitafakari pia na wananchi kule chini. Je, kilichowaleta hapa ni kipi, na wanafaa kuwahudumia wananchi wao katika heshima gani, pamoja na heshima na wenzao katika bunge, pamoja na wafanyikazi katika bunge. Haya yote yamefanyika si kwa wema tu, yanalengwa kuharibia wengine ambao ni wajumbe hapa. Bwana, mimi nataka kusema hivi, kama kwako ground imeharibika, kama kwako ground imechemka, tafadhali rudi kawarai watu wako, tengeza ground, si kuja kuharibia wenzako ambao wamekuwa wakifanya kazi vyema katika wodi zao. Na ni vizuri tuelewe kwamba hili bunge hili si la mtu. Hata mimi nikiwa hapa, hili bunge si la mtu. Kwa hivyo kila mtu lazima awe mjumbe, awe mfanyikazi wa bunge, lazima aishi katika maadili na sheria jinsi inavyotakikana. And there is nobody who is above the law here. Hivyo basi, najua mitandao imeandikwa mingi tu, kumeandikwa mambo mengi kule nje kuhusiana na matamshi hawa ndugu zetu. Na waomba ndugu zangu wa Taita Taveta, kokote mlipo katika kaunti hii na hata nje, tafadhali futeni yale yaliyosemwa, si ya kweli. Tushawaeleza kweli kulingana na sheria, tumewasomea mpaka mahesabu jinsi yalivyo. Jambo ambalo kuambiana tu ukweli, mjumbe yoyote akiwa na jambo anakuja kwa nyumba, anafanya kuliuliza, na kisha liuliza kupitia hizo njia za petitions, kupitia statements, kupitia question and answers, ama kuandika kwa ofisi inayohusika kama kamati inayohusika, anapata yale majibu. Basi inakuwaje leo wewe ambaye umeletwa hapa katika nyumba hii ya heshima, nyumba hii ya heshima ikatumia pesa za mwananchi kukupeleka induction, ukaenda kufunzwa jinsi ya kufanya kazi katika hii nyumba, alafu wewe leo unaamua kwa sababu ya ubabe, kwa sababu ya siasa, basi wewe unakuwa sasa unatoka huko unajifanya kama kichwa kimeruka. Basi tunataka tuseme hivi, huyu deputy speaker ama acting speaker na hawa waheshimiwa wako hapa pia ni wanasiasa. Usiende ukiruka ukiongea kule, ukipayuka na kuongea pia yenu yale yananuka, twayajua. And just to mention, and that's why I'm saying, umesikia nikitaja jambo la elimu. I know one of the members went to Kenyatta University kwenda kufanya masters. Unfortunately, that student member was expelled because of stealing exams. That one I know. And being a graduate, master's graduate of Kenyatta University, the member came to me to seek like assistance. Do you know anybody there in Kenyatta University who can help me? Sasa hiyo biashara mimi sifanyi. Kama mimi navumilia ndio nafanya mtihani mpaka nikapata hiyo master's degree. Wewe yako ulikuwa unataka kufanya mkato, na ndio unaona hizi shida zingine tumeanza kuziona hapa. So please, tunajuana na tunajua yale ambayo yako, na kama mnataka twende siasa tutapiga, na wewe mnasema ngoma ya kishenzi inapigwa kishenzi. Politics also is about numbers. Majority will always have their way and minority will always have their say, but in this house, not out there. and we are here to show you. Tunataka tuwapitishe funzo vizuri tu kupitia sheria, kwamba mambo yote twagaragazana hapa ndani. Kule nje huwa ni hadithi za paukwa pakawa na kuomba kura. Na sisi tuko tayari. We are very ready to face them. They are our colleagues, but we are not going to allow, hatuwezi kukubali watu wachache waende waketi, waende kuharibia wenzao careers zao. Eti kwa sababu twajua yale yanayoendelea kule kwa ground. We have intelligence as well. Mambo yamechemka huko. Sasa kama yamechemka huko, tafuta njia ya kuyapoesha. Usitafute njia sasa, vile mimi sasa maji yamezidi, wacha nivute wengine twende na maji. Hatutaenda wote. Kila mtu ajitayarishe, apange ground yake. Thank you very much. Asanteni, Mungu awabariki.